In this video lecture, we will cover the topic such as probabilistic sampling, non-probabilistic sampling and sampling distribution from unit number 4, that is the sampling and estimation. So let's see that what is sampling. So in the previous video lecture, we have already seen that what is the sampling. It is the subset of the population. So we have seen the sampling methods are classified as the probabilistic sampling and the non-probabilistic sampling. So these two sampling methods are again subcategorized. So let's see the first one, that is the probabilistic sampling. So in the probabilistic sampling, so we have the different subcategories like the random sampling, stratified sampling and the cluster sampling. So what is probabilistic sampling? In a probabilistic sampling, the individual observations on the sample are selected according to the probability distributions. So, this is what the probabilistic sampling is. That is, the individual observations on the sample are selected according to the probability distributions. And the next one is the non-probabilistic sampling. So what is non-probabilistic sampling? In that the selection of the sample units from the population does not follow any probability distribution. So it is called as the non-probabilistic sampling. So again it is subcategorized, that is the non-probabilistic sampling. It is subcategorized as convenience sampling and the voluntary sampling. So what is the difference? What is the definition of the probabilistic sampling and the non-probabilistic sampling? That you can say, if it does not follow any probability distribution, it means it is non-probabilistic sampling. If it follows some kind of probability distribution, that the observations on the sample follows the probability distribution, then it is called as the probabilistic sampling. Now let's see, that is from the probabilistic sampling. Let's see the first one, that is the random sampling. So we will see all this sampling turn by turn, that is the random, stratified and the cluster sampling. So starting with the first one, that is the random sampling. So what is random sampling? It means when the population is small and it is homogeneous and it is easily available, then we will use the random sampling. So over here, the subset of the frame are given an equal probability. So over here, the word used is the frame. So frame means the list of elements that sample selected from. Just for an example, the telephone book. So from the telephone book, you can select so many elements. So we call it as the frame. So all the subsets of the frame are given an equal probability in the random sampling. So each element of the frame thus has an equal probability of selection. Just for an example, the example of the random sampling is the lottery system. So in the lottery system, so many people has taken the lotteries. So everyone is having the equal probability for the selection. Also a table of random numbers. So in a table of random numbers, what will happen, that random number will be generated automatically. So we have seen the Python code, that how to generate the random number using the numpy. So which random number will be displayed to us, that is not fixed. So in the numpy library, they have the complete set of all the numbers and which numbers to select and define what is the final result. So that is based on the random sampling. So it means that each and every number has an equal probability of the selection. Over here, it provides the greatest numbers of the possible samples. So this is done by assigning a number to each unit in the sampling frame. Also, the estimates are easy to calculate in the random sampling. The next one is the stratified sampling. So again, it is the part of the probabilistic sampling. So over here, what is stratified sampling? we have to see that. So over here, the population can be divided into mutually exclusive groups using some factor. For example, the age, the gender, the marital status, the income, the geographical regions, etc. So the groups thus formed are called as the stratum. So this stratified sampling is based on this particular concept, that is the concept of the stratum. So the population can be divided into the mutually exclusive group. Now, what is mutually exclusive groups? Suppose this is my group A, suppose this is my group B. Now, this both the groups are intersecting at some point. So, what is this? These are my non-mutually exclusive events. And the mutually exclusive events means, suppose this is my group A, this is my group B, that both are individual and it is not intersecting at any point. So this is my mutually exclusive events. So the mutually exclusive events forms a group, and this group is called as the stratum. So it is important that the groups are mutually exclusive and exhaustive of the population. Examples of few stratified samples are as follows. That is the amount of time spent by the male and the female users in sending the message in a day. So over here, these two events are the mutually exclusive events. So over here, the strata are the male and the female users. So you can't intersect these two stratas. The second is the efficacy of a drug among different age groups. That is, the age group can be classified into the categories such as the age as less than 40, age between 41 to 60, and over 60 years of age. So over here you can see, over here the 40 gets complete, and after that the second group starts from 41. So over here, this second group includes 60, and the third group starts from above 60. So the 60 number is also not intersecting. So this group and this group are both mutually exclusive one. So over here, we have created these three groups. So these three groups in the stratified sampling are called as the stratum. That is, we have seen that this one, that is the stratum. Now, the size of a sample in each strata should be proportional to the proportion of the strata in the population. Samples from the each stratum can be combined to create the final sample. So, in the stratified sample, it is necessary when the population is heterogeneous, and creating the homogeneous stratum before sampling is recommended for the precise estimation of the population parameters. So in the random sampling, what we had the homogeneous group. Over here in the stratified sampling, at a time we have the heterogeneous group, and in the heterogeneous group we are creating the small groups, and that small groups will be the homogeneous one. Just for an example, if I take the complete example of the uh, users who are sending the message, then it contains both male and female users. It means it is my heterogeneous group. If I create two individual groups, that is the group of a male and group of a female, then it will be my group which contains the homogeneous values, because male is different and female is different. So it is your mutually exclusive events or the groups. So, what is the drawback of the stratified sampling? So, first, the sampling frame of the entire population has to be prepared separately from each stratum. So, second one is, when examining the multiple criteria, stratifying variables may be related to some but not to others. So, further complicating the design and the potential reducing the utility of the strata. So, in some cases, stratified can potentially require a larger sample than would the other methods. So this is one of the example, that is the simple random sample of size 2 from a population of 4 elements without any replacement. So over here you can see that the population elements are A, B, C, D. So total elements are n equals to 4, and I want to create a group of 2. So value of small n is 2. So first of all, what will happen over here is, the first element is selected and could be any of the four elements, and this leaves 3. So there are 4 into 3 equals to 12 possible samples, each equally likely like this, that is A with B, A with C, and A with D. You can see over here. Then B with A, B with C, and B with D, like this. Similarly, C with all the 3 elements and D with all the 3 elements. So there are 4 elements, that is capital N, into the remaining 3 elements, that is 3. So I got the answer as 4 cross 3 equals to 12. So how many this total elements are there? You can find out by this formula, that is n factorial divided by n minus n factorial, that is the 4 factorial divided by 2 factorial. So you will get answer as 12. Also, the if the order of the selection does not matter, then this reduces to the 6 combinations. Just for an example, this AB is equals to BA. If the order of selection does not matter, then AB is also equals to BA. So if I cut all such uh, options, then how many combinations are possible? It means the 6 combinations are possible, and this is the formula. You have to add small n factorial in the denominator. Now next one is the cluster sampling. So in cluster sampling, the population is divided into the mutually exclusive clusters, again just like the stratified sampling. So just for an example, assume that a researcher is interested in analyzing the life of a smartphone batteries from a specific manufacturer. So what will happen? The manufacturer may have the different models, and each model in this case will create a cluster. Now cluster means a group. Cluster means all the elements at the same point it is kept, and that will form a group, and that group we will call it as a cluster. So over here the clusters are randomly selected, and then all the units within the selected clusters are included in the sample. So this random sampling is used for selecting the subjects within the cluster if the cluster size is too large. So what we are doing over here, that a researcher is interested in analyzing the life of a smartphone batteries from a specific manufacturer. Suppose they are taking the manufacturer as the MI. Then again MI has so many models of the smartphones. Then they will check all the uh, this particular smartphone batteries lifetime, the lifetime of the smartphone batteries for all the models of the MI. So we are taking a specific manufacturer MI. Again it has so many series of the smartphones, so we have to make the cluster of all different models, so that models will be a group which are mutually exclusive groups, or we can say the mutually exclusive clusters. Now, not that what is the difference between the stratified and the cluster sampling, because both are using the mutually exclusive groups. So the major difference is that in a stratified sample all strata will be represented in the sample, whereas in the cluster sampling not all the clusters will be represented. So this is what the major difference between the stratified and the cluster sampling is used. So cluster sampling is used when the clusters are large in the number. Now next one is the non-probabilistic sampling. So in the non-probabilistic sampling, the selection of the sample units from the population does not follow any probability distribution. So we have seen these two categories in the non-probabilistic sampling. Let's study the first one, that is the convenience sampling. Now what is convenience sampling? So it is one of the non-probabilistic sampling technique, and over here the sample units are not selected according to the probability distribution. So for example, the researcher may collect the data from the school or the workplace or from his or her friends, since the cost of the data collection in such cases is minimal. So the convenience sampling is not recommended, since it is likely to result in the biased estimates. Then comes the voluntary sampling. So this sampling you will get the clear idea by this particular example, that many times the feedback is provided by the customers who had bad experience with the product or service. So many customers who were happy with the product or service may not give the feedback. So over here, what will happen that under the voluntary sampling, the data is collected from the people who voluntarily uh, considering the situation for such data collection. So over here, if we collect such kind of data, that is the feedback from the customers, then what will happen? Mostly we will get the feedback as the bad experience, because the customers who are happy, they are not giving the feedback. So this is the example of the voluntary sampling. So this voluntary sampling concept is followed by many organizations such as the Amazon, TripAdvisor, etc. Then comes the sampling distribution. So this is a theoretical probability distribution of the sample means that would be obtained by drawing from the population of all possible samples of the same size. So what is standard error? The standard deviation of the sampling distribution is called as the standard error. What is sampling error? It is the difference between the point estimate and the value of the parameter. So over here, a researcher hopes to minimize the sampling error, but not all samples have some such error associated with them. So some of the properties of the sampling distribution are like this. That is, the mean of the sample means will be the mean of the population. The variance of the sample means will be the variance of the population divided by the sample size. And the standard error of the mean will be smaller than the population mean and will be equal to the standard deviation of the population divided by the square root of the sample size. So if the population has the normal distribution, then the sample means will also have the normal distribution. Also, the sampling, that is the classification of the sampling, can be done like this. That is the classification of samples, the classification of only samples, that is the large sample and the small sample. So when it is called as the large sample, when the sample is said to be large if the size of the sample is greater than or equals to 30. So what is n? The n is the sample size. If the value of n is less than 30, it is considered as the small size. So from this video lecture, you can answer all these questions. That is, explain different types of probability and the non-probabilistic sampling, what is standard error and the sampling error. Thank you for watching.